Please put your hands together for actor Ms. Yami Gautam Dhar. She's going to be in a fireside chat with senior editor Times Network Sonali Krishna.
Hi, good evening. I'd like to correct the polite, kind lady. I'm no more Miss, I am Mrs. Yami Gautam Dhar.
That's correct. Many congratulations on your recent marriage. Wishing you all the marital bliss from all of us at the Times Network.
Yeah, it'll be pretty confusing otherwise for everyone, so it's just always...
Yes, she's not in the market anymore. So let me dive in, Yami. Thank you so much. You're a breath of fresh air for us. We've had a very intense 2 days, serious stuff about the war, about global economy, and now we want to talk about Bollywood. And you're the prettiest speaker we've had in the last 2 days. And also, I believe you're not just looks, you're not just brawn, you're brawn and brain. So let's start. Chandigarh girl moved to Bombay at the age of 20, no father figure, no relatives in the industry. What made you decide to jump into something that could have gone anyway and try the big bad world of Bollywood?
Thank you, first of all, for having me here. And, that's another little notion. Of course, when you compare it to war and politics in any other place, this seems like, a very breath of fresh air kind of profession. But trust me, it's not. It's not what you see.
I agree with you, and I think most of the audience knows that. You guys work harder than anybody else.
No, it's not about working harder. It's also about what goes in. What we see could be entirely different from what goes in, a workplace and the industry and the kind of place it is. And I'm saying it in the most, with utmost grace and to the very profession that has given me everything. It's a hard place. It's not something where it's very easy to survive, and we'll talk more about it. But to just briefly tell you, Sonali, for me, it was, I was pursuing honors in law. I had a totally different ambition in life. And when I went for the first time to the head of the department in Punjab University, where I was studying, and he looked at me, he said, no, I can't let you go. You're such a good student. You're one of my top rankers. He said in Punjabi, "Tusi kyun jana chahte ho? Matlab tusi to kitne change ho padhai ch." So again, he was being very nice to me, but what he meant to say was that had you not been good in studies, I would have happily given you, your TC, and you would have made something out of your career. But let me tell you, I think all the people who have made it at whatever different levels in this place are some of the smartest people that I've come across. So it takes a lot to be here. And for me, it was although I didn't grow up thinking or comfortable with the idea of being center of attention at all. I could stay quiet for hours and you wouldn't know I'm sitting next to you. Very reserved, extremely shy. The only time I mustered courage to be at a podium was for a Hindi recitation competition, and that also I looked at the judges and I just ran away. I was so nervous and I was so conscious. But I think deep within, I loved performing. I loved acting. Or I think once I took part in this theatre competition and we won. And which was quite a surprise for everyone. So when I got this opportunity, I thought, okay, I just want to audition. Let me see what happens. And I got it. And I said, okay, now I think this is what I want to do.
That's still very bold, because you did take the big step to come to Bombay. And you had no father figure or mother figure here. So how has the journey been? And for me, juxtapose that with, since you're now a veteran in the industry, you've spent many years.
Veteran is a very, very big
Fair enough, but you are no more a newcomer. You're an established personality. So juxtapose that for me, Bollywood then and now. Is it easier for outsiders to take that big, bold step and enter Bollywood? And if you're good, you'll get a fair, stage.
My debut happened 10 years back, and I'm not saying there's been a major change, because at the time when I made my debut, at that time also, I think the industry was still evolving in many, many ways.
Sure.
And I am fortunate enough to have started a career with a film, with a path-breaking film, which set a new age, modern, idea of films where there's social content and there's humor and, that kind of pattern. And I didn't think so much, Sonali. For me, I'm someone who learned to say no at a very early age, and which meant no to films which didn't make sense to me even at a time where I had no work. But just the idea of doing film for the heck of doing films was never okay for me.
Right.
So when I auditioned for Vicky, I knew what I was getting into, and I was really happy. I didn't know what's going to follow. I just did it because I enjoyed I enjoyed reading. I loved meeting Shujitda. I thought, we just watched Yahan. He'd only come up with Yahan, and I thought he's such a sensible filmmaker. And when you speak to him, of course, it was a different experience altogether. I thought the role was so substantial for a newcomer.
That's true.
It was much more mature than my age when I was shooting Vicky Dona. But I thought, so for me, it was taking one step at a time. And there weren't many debuts happening at that time. That shift wasn't very much there. I don't know for what reasons, but the reason for me to step out of what I was doing was purely for creative reasons. But versus now that we see the whole influx of talent, whether you're from television, whether you're from any other industry, whichever town you are, the awareness that is there now, of course, it's much, much more. It's definitely, this is the best time for anyone to become an actor or any creative person, because the opportunities and the platform is so much that if you have it in you, you'll definitely get an opportunity, for sure.
I'm curious to know, as an actor, how do you see the big screen and OTT? Do you guys demarcate that? Do you have a pecking order, or it doesn't matter?
I think the pandemic changed a lot of
Sure.
things. Maybe 4 years back, the answer would have been different. You, as someone who's used to seeing yourself on the big screen, and of course, the magic that big screen has, the whole idea of, it's a dark place, and your full attention is there on the screen, and it's larger than life, and you're fully centered there. That is obviously not, the OTT platform, and that viewing experience is entirely different. But I think pandemic, again, has really not just opened avenues, but even perspectives. This was, and I think for the good. It came at a time where not even financially and economically, I'm sure, for all the producers, that it opened a very, very important door. But even for actors, where now you see, it's not going to be easy for us to get the audience back in the theaters. We don't know what's going to work.
True.
Now we have not demarcated, they have demarcated. Now the audiences, they're telling us, what we want to watch. And okay, this is something, we are comfortable to watch it nicely. Because 2 years is a long time for anyone to inculcate a habit.
Yes.
So now they're comfortable. My own family, they're like, we'll watch it nicely when all of us are together. Now you can pause also. You can, just be comfortable and watch. So it's going to be, so you yourself are very aware as an actor, okay, this is a story which I know you would, of course, want all your films, to be on the big screen, and they eventually are going to come on satellite, on OTT. But I think I'm an actor, and my job is to perform. My job is to be a part of as many good stories as possible. So whether they reach the theaters or OTT platforms, it's going to reach my audience somehow, somewhere.
So you're platform agnostic.
Absolutely. So I'm more than happy to dabble between both the mediums.
Okay. Which brings me to the fact that you talked about a change of habit during the pandemic. Yes. And like all sectors suffered a big blow. Entertainment suffered, I think, one of the biggest blows. How did that impact actors not shooting for so long because of of severe lockdowns, a lot of your schedules being postponed. I heard another leading actor talking about the fact that it was not easy at all, and especially people who had just launched themselves into Bollywood were insecure because they're losing like 2 years of their prime time. I'm curious to know about not just your point of view, but and your peers on how that 2 year sabbatical impacted the industry and, of course, actors.
I have a slightly different take on
Sure.
it. I think what we were going through was much, much more than just our our respective professions. And I feel we are very, as actors, we're very fortunate also that we have savings also. We know that it's not that you're not going to get work. We will get work. It's just there's going to be a backlog. I think the ones who suffered the most were the technicians, who are daily wagers. So I'd rather say that it was a big blow for them. Of course, I mean, work is work. Who wants to be, away from work? But might I tell you that be it pandemic or no pandemic, this idea of insecurity or competition or constantly your mind working, what next, this is not enough. That's been there, it's still there regardless of pandemic. So while I do feel for, any debutant or anybody, but that's something which everybody shares. It's just not happening to any one particular person or one particular profession. So you'll pick it up. And as I said, we're very fortunate with this multiple array of mediums coming together that the opportunities will not go away. The challenge is now that only the brilliant will stand out. Okay, when you have so much happening, I think, but what good thing also must have happened, which I heard from a lot of writers, a lot of writing happened. A lot of good writing happened. And because everybody was indoors, everybody was home, and I can see that from a couple of scripts that have come my way that, come up with some good writing.
So you're saying the script writing ability cumulatively of the industry has gone up thanks to the pandemic?
No, I won't say thanks to the pandemic, but it's just, it gave, I'm sure, a lot of perspective also to a lot of creative people.
Right.
A lot of times it happens with the best of creative minds also. When commercially, when your film, and it has come from one of the topmost writers from the industry, that please, yes, I bring the script to you, but if you don't like it, please do voice out. Do not think it's come from me, so it's going to be really good, because I am overloaded with work. Because the moment a film of yours work, you are flooded with work, and so many producers and directors. Some of them you have to oblige, some of them, so I could just miss it. So don't assume that because it's me, so it's going to be correct. So I think that, from that perspective, I'm saying in terms of the time and everything must have given a little more time.
So you launched your career actually not in Bollywood, but you've actually done a film each across different regions in South India. So tell me, what is the key difference between regional cinema and Bollywood now that you've done both?
When my introduction was happening, wow, it sounded so nice. It made me sound as if my films did some humongous amount of business. No. Except for one of them, none of them worked commercially. But I really value that experience a lot. That's the first time I saw myself on screen, and I was like, wow, I really want to do this. And I think the only difference, and the main difference obviously, is the language. You feel that, my God, I'm going to, and I'm one of those old school ones who love to, I need to know what I'm saying.
Right.
So I used to actually learn my lines, including Malayalam.
Wow.
And Malayalam would be like, what did you just say? They've said the lines, they're done, they've left also, and I'm still on the first word. And that's it. The only word I managed to learn there is chudu, which is hot. That's it. Because it was hot.
Chudu.
Yeah, so that's it. And I literally got fever one day before I had a monologue, and I got fever one day before. And I am sure it has come somewhere from my mind, that fever. And I was so stressed. But, so language, of course. And they are all really punctual with
Yeah.
the time.
They're more disciplined.
I would say very, yes, in terms of timings, yes. If they say a 7 a.m. shot ready, they mean 7 a.m. shot ready.
What
That's
about
it.
what
Rest-
about other areas of professionalism? I've heard that regional cinema is a lot more professional than Bollywood.
No, it depends what does professionalism mean to you. Everything is subjective these days.
Sure, but whether it's starting on time or it's wrapping up on time or sticking to the schedule or just professionalism on the set. I mean, you tell me, you're the insider.
No,
is that actually true?
Yeah, no. Actually, it really depends from film to film, Sonali. And only the time factor is something which was the most common factor across all the languages. But as an even it doesn't mean that films out here we don't start on time. But there I've seen it like bang on time. But apart from that, no, I've never encountered anything unprofessional. At least the films that I've worked on. Might be some exceptions which I have a very selective memory, thankfully. But overall, no, not really. I think I've had a fair enough of amount of, in terms of professionalism at least, similar experience down south in here.
Let's talk about...
And also, when I was working in South, it's not that I was working with some of the most established, already actors. I was also a newcomer, like,
Sure.
so
Many
many.
others, yeah.
So it was, so I don't know if there's anything different otherwise. But the time that I worked, which was just before Wiki Donor, and at least 2-3 of them, no, it was more or less the same.
Right. So let's talk about the pandemic for a little bit and what it's done in terms of habits, right? For all of us who were stuck at home, we gave a big impetus to the OTT platforms. And what has happened, and correct me if I'm wrong, is we have started watching all kinds of content, right? So for people who just watched Bollywood, they have actually gone on to watch regional cinema, and a lot of content has actually gotten exported, and people globally are now watching Indian content. But if you go do a deep dive, it seems that the regional cinema is traveling much more, Malayalam, Telugu, than Bollywood. Would you agree with me? And B, if you do, why do you think that's the difference?
First of all, for some reason, the term Bollywood, I don't know who coined these terms, but started sounding since really long very weird to my ears. I don't know why.
What do we call it? You tell me.
The Indian Hindi films,
Hindi
Indian
film industry.
or industry. Because see, this is where the first demarcation starts. This is Bollywood. This is this. I'm sure, of course, there are different languages. Of course, they are. It's different. See, anything which is new will always be exciting, no?
Right.
If I've primarily watched Hindi films all my life, and if I've already finished, I'm done watching. Now, what do I watch? So now, okay, I've just been told, okay, there's this Malayalam film which is there, which is so good. Oh, that actor is so amazing. Oh, that actor, the kind of films he does is so good. And you end up watching some 4-5 films, back to back. So I think this is how I'm sure it happened for all of us, where we were, suddenly everybody was exposed. And ऐसा नहीं है कि पहले नहीं देखते होंगे. It's just that अब conversation बहुत ज़्यादा है because the burst of social media. Earlier, even if they would be watching, then how would you know? How would you connect with people, with somebody from, 1,000 miles away? How would you know? And I think this is how we know now because of courtesy social media. So I'm sure पहले भी देखते होंगे, but because of course, OTT platforms, it's become a global village. It's become long back, and which is good. It's really good because at the end of the day, you want to watch good cinema. Now it's coming from Malayalam, it's coming from Hindi, it's coming from Tamil, it's coming from Spain. There's so many shows that you feel, oh, I don't even want to watch the English audio. I probably want to just hear Spanish and I'm okay reading the subtitles. So, it's, and I'm fine if there is no Hindi dubbed on Malayalam films. I'm happy to watch because I'm understanding, I'm connecting so much with the emotion in the story that it's fine. So I think it is good. I don't question it. And if at all, if it's a question, then it's a good question, but that means it'll make us push and work harder at getting more work, as I said, at better writing, at even better films and better performances and better work. So if something that pushes you to get the better and the best out of you, must appreciate it rather than making it, like a competition.
How long have you now been in the industry?
It's been over just above 10 years.
A decade. Yeah. Would you now call yourself an insider, or do you still feel like an outsider?
The only place insider for me is at my home. Rest is all outsider. Outside home, inside home.
Okay.
Thank you guys.
I'm asking you this question because a lot has been spoken about the fact that it's difficult to crack it. A lot has been spoken about nepotism. There's been so much of commentary. We've had leading stars talk about it openly. What's your view? Are we making too much about it? The nepotism bit, or is it truly a problem, and for Bollywood and other regional industries to become more professional and to attract the best talent in the country, this conversation needs to stay alive and kicking?
I think, technically speaking, first of all, as long as any conversation is done with the best of intention and grace and dignity,
sure,
there is no harm in it. I think no matter whatever you want to say, but if you say it with grace, it's fine. It's all right. Everybody has a right to have their opinion. And it's a very valid conversation. That is why it's happening. And technically, you do not have control over who's going to be born in which household. That's not in somebody's hands. So, to put it very simple, there is no competition between whether you're born in this, to somebody who already belongs to this industry, or you are from another city like mine, and so on and so forth, or which industry you're coming from and which background. The idea is, I think, of this conversation is to ensure that everybody can coexist and work. Everybody who's deserving is working. Everybody, anyone who's talented is getting an opportunity and is not held back. That's it. That is the meaning of, I think, this conversation, where we need to push and nurture talent. Now, whether that talent is coming from someone from the industry or someone from any part of the country or wherever, that needs to happen. So we need to make that atmosphere very conducive of these things. That's it. That's the only, everybody should feel comfortable working here. We do not have control. Yes, somebody who's from the industry will have always more opportunities, But does that mean I'm going to keep breaking my head about it? No, that will not get me work. So what do I have to do? Or people who are at a position of power, or who are, by power I mean people the filmmakers or producers or writers. That casting needs to happen. If you want somebody, to get casted regardless of the background. That's it. Now, that's the whole conversation. So everybody should be able to exist rather than, again, making it a competition and demarcating, this is us, this is you. No, we need to grow as an industry. We need to grow as cinema. I think this is the reason why the term Bollywood sounds very, maybe negative, because I don't know. The whole idea is the cinema should grow. So for that to happen, we need to think over these things.
Sure.
And it's only possible if we let talent nurture and make it a place where everybody can work without any fear, without any pressure, without feeling that, if I'm trying to, take 4 steps, I'm going to be held back. No. No one's going to be there to hold you back. If you have it in you, you have, this place, first of all, it takes time. It takes time for anyone. Even if you have an opportunity ready for yourself, but it's not just going to happen. It's still not going to be easy. You'll have to still
prove yourself.
Prove yourself. And today, more than ever today.
Sure.
And so that's it. The idea is to make this place better. The idea is to make this place where everybody can work together.
Right, right. You know, not many actors open up about themselves in terms of, their physical ailments, right? Uh, we as lay people do, we're open about it because we're not stars. But I want to talk about and appreciate that you opened up for the larger good of, for people to accept their flaws. You talked about your condition, and I hope I get the pronunciation right. It's keratosis pilaris.
Got it right.
You know, why did you decide to talk about it in the first place? You didn't have to. And what was your motive, and how did that help you?
No, I think I've been wanting to do that since really long. But, when you're working in today's time, when you're working as an actor, you're not just an actor, you're an image. You have endorsements, you have events, your image is not just perceived out of, just the films that you're doing, but also how many brands you have, and, what all other things that you do apart from just, watching your films. And so there's so much more. I feel we made our own lives very complicated today. So, and of course, there is a certain expectation that people have out of you, or people or brands that you associate yourself with, they have, or it's an aspirational industry. It's an industry where, any girl who's probably just in school or walked out of college, or anybody, it'll be like, when we've also grown up and watched films and we wanted to dress up like, so and so character, and all those things. But I think today is the time where, and I think it's happening quite globally, where public figures are coming out and opening up, and in a way to tell you that no, it's
Embrace yourself.
yeah, embrace yourself, and we're just like anybody. The idea is to be real. The idea is to make this a better place. And I think when we talk about social media, of course, the downside of it, but the good side can also be we can make it a more positive place and connect it with better things and have more empathy for each other.
Sure.
And so this is a condition, I grew up with as a teenager, and ever since, it's always been there with me, and it has troubled me. It did trouble me a lot, because I used to look at, my friends, and they would not have this condition, and I would be like having these rashes, and I didn't know what to do, because the doctors just said, at least at that point of time, that that's the only thing we don't have a cure yet for. So I said, okay, fine. And then you grow in industry where it's all about, show business, and then you have your brands and so many things, and you need to look in a certain way, you need to be in a certain way, and the picture needs to look, in a certain way. But this is something which I really wanted to do. And so when this photo shoot happened, this was not for anything, this was not for any brand, nothing. It was just about me. So if it was about me, it was going to be about this also, which is a part of me. And where I thought, I don't think we need to cover it up anymore. This is me. It's going to be like that forever. And because I think it was done with this intention, the kind of response that I got was, that thank God you came up with something like that. Now I can tell my partner or my boyfriend that, because I've been told that, that actresses, look in a certain way. Why can't your, arms be so, smooth and so nice and without all these things? Now I can show that, see, she also has it. It's a condition. I can't help it. So it felt good. It felt really good, because, and I think anything which you do from your heart with the best of intention can never be misconstrued. And I believe in this. And this was the idea. That's it. To just be who I am.
Kudos to you, and I think because of that, a lot of us can embrace our flaws and do it confidently.
Yeah, and I think we need to rephrase it, and let's not call it flaws. This is just us. I mean, we're just humans, right? We are like that. Our entire body also, if you see the face, the left is always different from the right.
That's
so when
true.
the nature made us like that, so that is also part of us.
Last question before I let you go. You talked about being meaningful, using social media for good. Do you think stars today take what they endorse seriously in terms of, are they clear about what their positioning is, which brands are they looking to partner with? How does that come across? Or do you think it's just another revenue generating mechanism and it's completely fine?
I think people really, again, misunderstand that and make it sound like when you say revenue generating, it's a part of our profession.
Absolutely.
It's a part of, it's a part of the job. And I think it's very difficult to generalize and make a statement out of something like this, which is so personal to each one of them. So I cannot speak for anybody else's behalf.
Give me your, your opinion.
Yeah, of course. I mean, today is the time more than as I said, you evolve with time. You asked me the same questions 5 years back, my answer would be different. Why? Because you grow with time. You grow with experience. You grow with your exposure. You grow as a person. So your perspective evolves. So let's not hold on to things. Let's take it as what we see for the moment and not, ab aap aise bol rahe ho, pehle pata hai aapne wo. I mean, it's very difficult to generalize it. First of all, I can't speak on somebody else's behalf, but I think whatever at least I'm doing, and that's why when someone asks me, oh, your film released 10 years back, how do you feel? I feel nothing. Because I feel I've just begun.
Sure.
And I think that's more important, to feel inspired and to feel good about what you're doing. And I feel really good about what I'm doing and the kind of people I'm associating with, whether be it films, whether be it brands, and or having a conversation. At least I try to have a conversation.
Absolutely. I could have enjoyed this conversation more. Having said that, it's been a pleasure watching you, at the cinemas. All your films are fantastic. They're so different. They have some meaning. They bring some value to our lives. Please continue the great work. We hope to see more of you, whether it be on the silver screen or on OTT. And thank you so much for gracing us with your presence at the India Economic Conclave.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Yami. Thank you, Sonali.